What is going on, Soccer Card Fiends? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we're here with an episode of Stock Up and Stock Down for the USMNT from the last window, the second to last window of World Cup qualifying. I'll go ahead and flash up the points on screen as to where we are right now. Actually, it'll just be easier if I go and find it myself. So here we are. Right now, Canada has essentially, I'm pretty sure they're qualified. They are in because they've done pretty well this window, and Costa Rica is very far behind yet, 9 points behind. 8 points above Panama, so they're in because we have to play each other, and I'm sure that works out all right. As far as us, though, we are currently in second on goal differential. We have 3 more higher in goal differential than Mexico. Mexico and us are 4 points above Panama and 5 points above Costa Rica. The way that qualifying works is if we finish in 4th, that means we're in a playoff game against the winner of the Oceania region. And then if we are in 5th, that means that we don't qualify at all. So luckily, we're 5 points above 5th, so looking pretty good in that regard. 4 points above 4th, so also looking good there. So we're allowed to be a little bit happier this go around. Last video, it was, is it time to panic? Which it kind of was. If Honduras wasn't a victory for us, it would have been pretty terrifying. Reason being because our schedule doesn't look that great in the terms that we have to play Mexico, who's currently tied with us in points. We have to play Panama, who is right behind us, and then we have to play Costa Rica, who would be right behind them. So we have to play everyone that's sort of in this mix, and that's why the Honduras win that we had today was direly important. However, the window that I'll be talking about is our last 3 games, so our 1-0 win against El Salvador, which wasn't great, our 2-0 loss to Canada, which was pretty horrible, and then our 3-1 or 3-0 win against Honduras. So that's what we're going to be covering today. So to start in the stock up, we got to start with the man, the myth, the legend, and that is Weston McKennie. He has been our best player for a good while now in the USMNT, and he continued to do just that. In terms of our attack, he kicked off this last game against Honduras with a nice little header. He also had a header on goal off of a corner against Canada that very nearly should have been a goal. And beyond that, just the scoring threat that he offers us, which he's been one of our best scoring threats going forward. We'll have some stock downs that kind of follow that here in a second. But Weston McKennie in the midfield still been doing amazing as well, being a real workhorse for us and really being creative in forwarding the attack, which is what you want. Typically, whenever we start to struggle, that's because in the midfield we can't really create, and there's no lack of creativity on his side of the midfield. Typically, he's been on the side of Dest and Weah, and having those 3 be able to link up has been very, very good for us. During these windows, you have to rotate a little bit, so you won't always see that combination, but he's been amazing. So first up, stock up to him, very big stock up as well. He should be right up there in terms of the top players on this team whenever you look at us right now. So depending on how you view the player table, he's got to be up there in some way. Next up is Anthony Robinson. He was very solid across all of the games. I mean, honestly, I couldn't really complain at all. He does have some errant crosses every now and then. I know I just said I couldn't complain, and then I did complain, but other than the errant crosses, very good defensively. Also really progresses the attack down the left wing, where often Pulisic hasn't been doing that for us lately, so that's been pretty problematic, and having him to be there and be able to help out has been really good. But defensively, he's been very, very clean, and his link-up play and his passes have felt very good out of the back. I'm never too worried when he's on the ball. He also obviously had the game winner against El Salvador, so you got to count that as well. Very big coming in there, very reminiscent of his goal versus Honduras earlier in the World Cup qualifying window. Cycle, that is, not the window. Then we have Tim Weah. He's been very good in my eyes. I think a lot of people have sort of noticed that he is our most dangerous winger. At least he has been the last few windows. A lot of our attacks have been going down his side because essentially he can almost always beat his defender and at least give you that opportunity for an attack and for a goal. And with Pulisic, sometimes he just dribbles into people and really doesn't do anything too much with it. And Pepe really can't create on his own. He's not very good at being able to, get a ball in, turn, and then create something. He sort of needs it fed to him, and Weah is the guy for that. And again, the combination between Weston, Dest, and Weah on the right-hand side has been amazing. And so to be able to have him leading that line is just amazing to see, and he's been very, very good. If he can stay healthy, I think he is our best winger, and it's going to be interesting to see where Reyna goes whenever he comes back, because in my opinion, Reyna is a lock starter if healthy and in form, and so when that happens, Reyna will either kick Pulisic or Musa out of the lineup. I think it'll be Musa, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pulisic's in bad form that it could be him. So that's sort of one of the underlying things of Weah's performance, is that it sort of makes Pulisic more of a question mark than he was before. And then finally, Walker Zimmerman, not as flashy, not as fun, you know, giving a stock up to an aging center back. He's really not that old though. But personally, I thought he was pretty solid for us. Our most solidified center back, which we didn't have John Brooks in this window because Greg says because of form. Whether or not that's true, I have my doubts. But other than that, Zimmerman's been the best for us. Richards is hurt. Miles Robinson is sort of iffy, so he's not really competing with the best competition, I guess. But overall, it looked good. Also had the goal for us today, which was great. But beyond that, just looked very solid passing out of the back and never really was worried whenever we were in possession and trying to build up. And he actually had a lot of times where he could sort of jumpstart a build up forward, which other players, as far as center backs for us, find it hard to do at times, and he's defensively sound, so I'll take it. Now for the stock down, this is where I'm probably going to hurt some feelings because our attack has been abysmal lately, and people love to invest in attackers. So that's the give and the take here. So we're going to start. I'm going to go right for the throat. That is Christian Pulisic. This window just not great. Against El Salvador, really didn't offer too much. Against Canada, more of the same. And then finally against Honduras, he actually was benched and then came in the 60th minute. He did end up scoring. However, it wasn't really anything he created. He was just sort of in the box. The ball fell to him. He slotted away in the bottom left-hand corner, and, you know, that's that. Really isn't anything too wild. In terms of his attacking play, I've been very frustrated. Typically, I'm going to give Pulisic a pass because of sort of his role in the team. He's been that guy. He's been the guy that people look up to. He's really what kickstarted this youth generation for us. So me and many others, I'd imagine, we're more than likely to give him a pass, but just seeing him endlessly dribble into 2 or 3 people and then not pass the ball or just get chopped down, it's pretty boring, pretty predictable. He always cuts in. He never really has been going to the outside and really switching it up on defenders. He just kind of runs at you, cuts inside, 2 people hit him, and then he falls down or he loses the ball, one or the other. And, you know, it's funny to make it sound that simple, but as far as what I've seen, it really is that simple. So I don't know. You could say maybe it's club form. Obviously, he hasn't been playing that much for Chelsea, and when he does, sometimes he's left wing, sometimes he's a false 9, sometimes he's a right winger, sometimes he's a left or right wing back. He really just plays everywhere and probably can't find that consistency, but it does show here, and it makes me wonder how solidified his spot in the lineup is going forward, even though, as to many would attribute, he is, in theory, our best player. Now, it's been a while since we've seen that, but that's sort of how people view him. So I just want to warn you, if that's how you view him, if you think he's this untouchable, you know, amazing LeBron James of soccer, then, you know, just pump the brakes a little bit. I'm not sure if that's quite that. Then next up is Brenden Aaronson, also going to throw him in the stock down. He didn't get as much playing time this window as Pulisic did, but whenever he was in there against Canada, really didn't see too much. As a sub against El Salvador, really didn't see too much. Personally, I just think whenever a ref is going to let people play, whenever a team's going to come in and be aggressive, Brenden Aaronson, he doesn't really have the ability to just push that line forward because he doesn't really have the speed to be able to beat people and to create space in that way. So then if the space does condense, there's going to be a lot of physicality. They're going to know that he sort of gets bullied. And whenever you can bully someone like we see with Pulisic, teams are going to do it, and they're going to do it relentlessly. And so if you can bully Pulisic and then bully Aaronson on the other side, it's not that exciting for me. And so personally, I see Aaronson better as a midfielder, and I think his club sees it the same way. However, for us, we have a pretty solidified midfield. There's not a ton of depth, but the first 3 or 4 spots are very, very solid. So I don't think Aaronson really has a spot in the midfield. That's why he sort of gets pushed out on the wing, and I think that wing spot is slowly being eaten up by either Pulisic, Weah, Reyna, one of those 3, or 2 of those 3, I guess. And so for me, I don't see Brenden Aaronson that highly. I know a lot of people do. I know his prices for his Bowmans are incredibly high. I have one coming back from PSA, a nice little colored one, so I'm hoping that comes back quick because I just don't see it. But I'm glad to be wrong. Like with a lot of these guys, when I do stock up, stock down, I have cards for all these guys. I really don't care that much, and I have, you know, maybe I have some bags to push, but I don't. I just tell you how I see it. Sure, I might be biased. That's what I'm saying. Deep down, maybe inherently, I'm a little biased towards some guys. But at the end of the day, I mostly call it how I see it, other than whatever subliminal biases there may be. And as far as Aaronson goes, I would love for him to be great, but I just don't see that. So for me, it's stock down. I don't see him solidifying his spot, and I just saw more of the same in terms of him just getting pushed off the ball and basically taken out of games. Then next is Ricardo Pepi. I will say I don't own any Pepi. So if you want to say that I'm a hater, by all means, go ahead. But the Pepi hype train was pretty wild, and the way that I see card collecting in general, you have a long time horizon if you're buying these young kids. So if you got, you know, Pepi and you want to buy his cards, well, if he's going to be the GOAT that people think he's going to be, there's going to be 10 to 15 years where I can buy this guy's cards, right? So I'll wait it out. I'll see how it goes. I'll buy during dips and see what happens, I guess. But Pepi just came onto the scene, scored a few goals, everyone went wild, and he hasn't done anything since. And that's the thing. I don't know how many minutes it's been. I think I saw on Twitter, which Twitter is the best place for all stats. I think I saw something that was like 800, 900 minutes since his last goal, something along those lines, and it feels about right. Honestly, I just don't see Pepi being all that for us. Now, I will say Zardes starting over him does seem pretty wild, but again, when you see Pepi and how he's played lately, I can't say it's the craziest thing. I mean, I think it's pretty crazy, but I kind of understand it. Realistically, Josh Sargent did have some goals going into this window, but right after the roster was announced, so maybe in the next window we'll see some more Sargent. A lot of people don't like him either. We're sort of in this position where we really don't know who our 9 is. So I'm just going to say that. No one knows who our 9 is. I've always thought of it in that way. You know, there was that time where Pepi had those 2 goals and everyone went crazy, and there was that mania, but outside of that, we have not had a solidified 9 in any regard. So just be careful. Whenever you're buying 9s, whenever you're prospecting on a striker, be careful. Because I could easily see going into a World Cup that we play Pulisic as our striker or we play Weah as our striker. Neither of those would surprise me, and neither of those guys are seen as strikers right now. So you have that competition, and then you also have competition. If you're a Pepi guy, you have competition against Sargent, Sibachu, Zardes, as you've seen, Hoppe. There's a lot of competition there. And it might not be good competition, but it's there. So just be careful. But that is going to round it out. I mean, I guess I could go on a little bit more about him, but realistically, he just doesn't involve himself in the game. He's not really there for hold-up play, and he hasn't really been there to finish or on the end of anything. He's actually had a lot of whiffs and a lot of missed hits, and really hasn't looked good in front of goal. And with him going to Augsburg, I mentioned this before, but that's risky. If he would have stayed at FC Dallas, that would have been a place where he can basically score goals guaranteed. Would he have the same production as he did last year? Who knows? But he would have at least had more likelihood to score more goals than going to a struggling Bundesliga squad and then battling for relegation on a team that creates very little chances. So that's going to be something to take into account. And going forward, if you're a Pepi guy and you want to sell into some hype, I would say it's the way to go, but it's not my card, it's not my thing, and I don't own any Pepi. So maybe I'm just saying that so then I can get the prices low and buy in. I don't know. But that is going to be it for me today, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the stock up, stock down. If you did, make sure to leave a like. On top of that, we'd love to hear your stock up and stock down below to kind of see what other people are thinking. I'm just one guy, obviously, so it's just my opinion. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as we go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.